Hello, welcome to the series that I like to call Talk and Draw, where I will talk about any recent shows or movies that I've seen, and you get to watch a speed paint. Yay! Okay, enjoy! This is episode 1, and today we will be talking about Blue Exorcist. So, a few warnings and disclaimers before we begin. This will contain spoilers for season 1 and 2. It will not contain the movie, because I have not seen it. If you're here to talk about the movie, I'm very sorry. I'll probably make an episode of it on a later date, but until then you're gonna have to wait, so I'm sorry for that. Another thing, I'm not aware of any controversies that this show might be having right now, so if there are, please do educate me. Another thing, this show, I'm very much aware that it's at least more than 5 years old, so it might not be the most relevant topic to talk about, so this might not gain a lot of traction, but then again, the fandom, I think, is still alive, so just bear with me, okay? Another thing, this entire series will be of my opinions about this stuff. So, if you're here to fight about my opinions, then please just don't say anything to me. I'm just here to talk and maybe get some of my frustrations out, and my friends are kind of sick of me talking to them, so I'm gonna talk to you, because that's just how this works now. Okay, all the disclaimers out of the way, let's begin. So, let's start off with a quick summary of the plot. You follow the protagonist, Rin Okumura, in his quest to become an exorcist and kill Satan. So, sounds like a simple plot, right? But the biggest issue is his dad is Satan. So it causes a bit of problem, as you can probably assume. So you follow him, his brother, Yukio Okumura, to True Cross Academy, where there is a cram school on the side where there are people who study to become exorcists. That's the basic plot. Now let's talk about the series in itself. I really liked Blue Exorcist. Listen, I loved it so much. Oh my god. It kept me intrigued, and it wasn't like other anime I've watched that I've looked to see when the ending was because I was getting bored of it. I would look to see where the ending was because I didn't want it to end, which is why I'm kind of bummed there's only 2 seasons, but I was pleasantly surprised when I realized there was a movie, so I'll try to find a way to watch that in the future. But the series in itself, I watched it where there was the first season and then the second season, as it usually goes, but the first season was the one where it had the non-canon ending. This is my understanding of the issue. It has 2 separate endings. I've seen both of them, and I was gonna maybe talk about the differences between them in the future in this episode. So I really, really love this show. I'm a big fan of anime that is very action-packed, and if it includes like fantasy elements like demons, for example, sign me up. For example, my favorite anime is Demon Slayer. So I'm just such a big fan of the concept that Rin not the whole time, but was struggling with being the son of Satan, and him trying to control it, and then the going back and forth, and the breaking of the trust and the building of the trust with his friends was just, give me more of that. My personal favorite character was Rin, just because he's relatable to me. and I really liked his cat, Kuro. Kuro was adorable. I loved Kuro. And I really liked learning about the different characters' backstories as well. For example, I think Suguro, that was his name. The second season, just being all about his past and relating to his past, not about his past specifically, but learning about it. It was honestly sad, because, you know, they're all struggling with the same thing. Like, all the characters, they're struggling with similar things, but they all, like, are different in their own way. Like, they're all suffering from being outcasts. Honestly, Shiemi, sorry, I'm very sorry about that. She struggled with being weak, and she relied on others a lot, and so she was an outcast for that. Rin, for obvious reasons, is an outcast. Suguro was an outcast because he came from the temple that had the Blue Knight. And I'm pretty sure the same thing happened with Shima and Konekamaru. Izumo, she has really bad trust issues, so she can't, like, communicate that well with people. And she is a tsundere, and maybe I'm just overthinking things, but overall, I really, really enjoyed this anime. There were a few parts that I was a little iffy about. I love Shura, but I really dislike her character design. It just feels a little awkward for an exorcist to only be wearing a top and shorts. Like, that ain't protecting anything. A few things I did notice in the second season in particular is Rin would be more expressive after they learned his secret. Like, he would be more expressive because you could see where his tail was moving, and you would have Kuro on his head, and he was just angry a lot. Okay, I think I should change the topic now. Yukio. He's a really well-written character. But I've seen both of the endings, and I like one more than I like the other. And it's kind of a mutual love-hate relationship with him to me. If there is more content of him in the future, I'm sure I'll grow to like him more. But Yukio, he's on thin ice for me, okay? So, yeah. Sorry for that pause there, I had to recollect my thoughts. I wanted to talk about the difference in the openings as well, and what they can, like, symbolize. So for the second opening, I think it's called My Precious Life, there were a bunch of times where Yukio and Rin were on the screen, and it was like the scenery around them reflected it, like what was going on. For example, one of the scenes, it was both of them reminiscing about the past. It was scenes with their dad, and Yukio, he looked on a scene of them building a snowman in winter, and Rin looked at them they were on a swing set in spring. And, well, if you don't do any, like, digging, or you don't know, or you aren't insane like me, then you don't really think much of these scenes besides, oh, they're reminiscing about their dad. But spring is a time it's usually seen as a new start, and winter is seen as the end. And in that season, in that arc, Rin was trying to move on from all this. He was trying to become a better exorcist so he could prove himself. He was trying to get a new start so people could see him as a trustworthy person. And Yukio, on the other hand, he was really struggling with accepting himself and his brother because he was manipulated by his grandpa to, like, accept everything that was going on at the time. And it's just such a big character difference between the two, and the conflict. Like, it's Rin, he sees nothing's wrong, but Yukio sees the darkness. He sees the things that could go wrong. He has paranoia. It's been told to us multiple times that he overanalyzes stuff. He worries a lot. And honestly relatable. But he doesn't think rationally when he's worried. And that's where it all goes wrong. In the first ending, Yukio made a mistake that resulted in Satan coming and making a portal of Gehenna. It's like he knew he made the wrong choice. He knew he did. And a lot of times in the openings, it's showing Rin running ahead of Yukio, which he has said, Rin has said that he will beat his brother. But as a younger sibling myself, it's not very, like, helpful to hear that. You know, I don't even think you need to be a younger sibling to understand that it's not helpful to hear that, and that's not what Yukio needed to, like, get through his skull. That basically, I can assume from Yukio's eyes, it sounded like he was saying, I'm better than you, but that probably is just me making stuff up. I really liked both of the endings. Listen, I did. But one of them was better than the other, and the first ending was the worst one. For some of you who may be confused, I watched it on Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll showed it as season 1 was one whole show. And then season 2 is the actual ending. At least that's what I know about this. I'm sorry if this is wrong, but it's how I see it, and I think it's correct. So the first ending in the first season that Crunchyroll advertises is with Yukio supposedly he finds out about, like, this dude contacts him after he becomes paladin and the director of the school, after Mephisto gets arrested for working with artificial life. And then a bunch of things happen which end up with Yukio getting possessed by Satan. Yeah. And Satan makes the portal of Gehenna. And a bunch of stuff happens, and now Yukio's a demon. It was a messy ending. It was really, really messy. And I feel like that first bit, like that, the second half of the first season on Crunchyroll was fine. It was organized, and I could tell what was going on most of the time, but just, it felt, once we started getting into a bit of the action, it felt out of order. Like, for example, I think they made the right choice with the remake having that one little arc going to Suguro instead of Konakomaru, because we get a little insight about all three of them instead of just one of them. And honestly, I'm glad that they reorganized it, but I'm not too glad about them making like 70 different new characters in order to get this new ending through. Mephisto didn't change. Same things were happening. Also, I have never seen it with one or the other ending. I mean, I will, so if this sounds a bit of out of order, I'm sorry. That's just how my brain associates this stuff. But the second ending, it like rolled into it easier. As the first ending, we only got like a little bit of a clue, and then it just threw us into this whole thing. As much as I loved this little story that they had, I feel like the thing with the professor's wife coming back from the dead and being with Shiemi was kind of useless. I think it didn't really add to the plot at all. I mean, it showed more of the villainy of the True Cross instead, which I guess helps, but you didn't need to prove that, really, by taking a character who wasn't relevant and bringing her back and making it like a few episodes long. It felt more like filler than an actual story, and then something to get the plot rolling. And the ending in its own, oh my god, there was so much going on in those few episodes. In like 4 or 3 episodes, Rin was taken into custody. He was being tortured, then Yukio showed up and he started spewing a bunch of nonsense, and then he dropped his own blood, and it was like this ritual thing, and then the gate of Gehenna opened from the artificial thing, but it also summoned Satan, and now Yukio's a demon, and he has Satan in him, and there's this plan, and they're saving the students, and it was a lot in these few episodes. My brain could keep up, but I was a little confused. I liked how the second ending was put together more. It wasn't a very satisfying ending, but it did make logical sense, and it didn't feel like they were just trying to end the series. Because they gave Yukio more character development instead of just throwing him into fighting Satan. They made them fight King of the Impure instead of Satan, which is something I can appreciate. And it also made it a better arc for Rin to regain the trust of his friends, because it explained different things, and in the first season, I think Suguro said something like, you can't just ask someone to believe in you have to do, like, something more. And in that, Rin did do something more. For example, he saved literally everyone by killing the king, with the help of the god thing? I'm sorry, I didn't know what those things were. The phoenix and the little thing that sounded like a little kid. They were cute. I liked them. Also, I liked how instead of them just throwing Yukio into being a demon, they gave him a little bit of character development toward him still having demonic powers, despite him not having the blue flame, per se. The second ending worked out a lot better. It really did. And sure, there might have been a lot of excess characters, I still really liked it. And there have been a lot of characters that show up like once or twice and they aren't explained. Like, there are still a bunch of loopholes in this, and not loopholes, there are still a bunch of plot holes in this plot. And we have nothing to fill it right now, so there is a very high chance that it will come out with more content in the future, but as of right now, there is nothing. Also, this is a little off topic, but as much as I disliked the first ending, I really liked Yukio as a demon. He was cool, and pointy ears suit him. He looks too bland without pointy ears. Like, even the students have cooler character designs, and he's literally a kid of Satan as well. One of the issues I have in the series overall is everyone is so upset at Rin for being the son of Satan. Like, Yukio is too. He's not the only one. There's two and a pair of twins, you know? And who's saying he couldn't be lying about his tests? You know? But that'll probably wrap it up for this video. If you have anything to say in the comments, please make a constructive criticism and not being like, oh, your opinion sucks. If there's anything you would like to correct me on, first reminder, I didn't script this video. I've just been rambling on, and I like just finished the series today, so I don't know much about it. I hope you enjoyed watching the speed paint. Make sure to check out other videos of mine, and I will see you next month.